New tonight, Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene just wrapping up a town hall in Georgia where she ramped up her attacks on Speaker Mike Johnson as she pushes to oust him.
I will not tolerate a Speaker of the House that I voted for to sell us out. I will not tolerate it.
Comes as Greene again is making headlines for her social media posts, the latest linking the eclipse to the New York earthquake and calling them all strong signs to, quote, repent. Sunlen Sarfati is out front.
This majority is a failure.
Brazen.
Why don't you off?
Brash. And ever the provocateur.
No, I reclaim my time. You're a liar.
Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene is holding the reins at the center of the effort to take down Speaker Mike Johnson, threatening to throw the Republican Party into chaos.
It's more of a warning and a pink slip.
Since filing the motion to vacate, Greene only intensifying her attacks.
Mike Johnson he's literally turned into Mitch McConnell's twin and worse. He's a Democrat.
Slinging political arrows directly at the leader of her own party.
He is a damn fool, Steve. And he's a liar.
Greene set off by the spending package Johnson negotiated to avoid a partial government shutdown.
The current Speaker of the House we have right now is getting rolled in every single meeting. He is negotiating from weakness, and we have lost full confidence in him.
Johnson calling her move a distraction.
She's trying to send a message. I respect the message. I share her frustration about the process.
With some Republicans dismissing her as unserious.
Nobody cares what Marjorie Taylor Greene says or thinks. And she's a one-man show. She's grandstanding. She wants attention.
The Congresswoman has trafficked in some of the most debunked conspiracy theories, bringing the most questionable views and wild opinions to the U.S. Capitol. Greene claiming this weekend that today's eclipse and Friday's earthquake in New York are a sign from God to repent and warning about things to come. Yes, eclipses are predictable and earthquakes happen, and we know when comets are passing by. However, God created all of these things and uses them to be signs for those of us who believe. Greene is an election denier.
Today, I'll be objecting to a stolen election. We can't allow this to happen.
And before coming to Congress was a QAnon sympathizer, promoting conspiracy theories about the September 11th terror attacks.
The so-called plane that crashed into the Pentagon.
And mass shootings.
You guys are being used.
That's right.
You're being used by the left because you're young. And you're being tricked into having your Second Amendment slowly chipped away and taken away from you.
And anti-Semitic conspiracy theories.
What about Jewish space lasers? Tell us about Jewish space lasers.
Why don't you go talk about Jewish space lasers?
Once claiming that the deadly wildfires in California in 2018 were caused by a laser from space, possibly controlled by the Rothschild investment bank. Conspiracy theories she was forced to apologize for after taking office in 2021.
These were words of the past, and these things do not represent me.
Now, the next big question is, will Marjorie Taylor Greene follow through with this threat to get rid of Speaker Johnson? Now that she has filed that motion to vacate, she now has to bring it to the floor. Now, after it's brought to the floor, she will officially have 2 legislative days to try to force a vote to oust him. But, Aaron, she has so far not revealed the timeline of how all this will unfold. Aaron?
All right, Sunlen, thank you very much. And let's go now to the former Republican Congressman Ken Buck, who was one of the 8 Republicans who had voted to oust then Speaker Kevin McCarthy. So, Congressman, you heard Sunlen talk about some of the conspiracies Greene has pushed over the years, and obviously now saying that, you know, if the Speaker doesn't do what she wants regarding Ukraine, she's going to go ahead with what she can now do, right? Just takes one to force a vote on the speakership. Does it worry you that she has this much power in the House of Representatives?
Well, Marjorie has this much power because we have such a small majority at this point in time. Mike Johnson, the Speaker, is on the right side of history, and Marjorie is on the wrong side of history. We know that Russia is propagating these false statements narratives about what's going on in Ukraine. We know that she is getting her talking points from Russia, and we know that they're false. And Mike Johnson is doing the responsible thing by trying to make sure we get a vote on Ukraine funding, make sure that the Ukrainian people can fight for their freedom. The fact that Marjorie is continuing down this false path, I don't think many Republicans are going to support her. There will be some. And I expect that the Democrats recognize this moment in history and the importance of being bipartisan in supporting Mike Johnson.
Well, we will see. I mean, that's a whole nother can of worms, I guess, as we could say. But Congressman, she has been going after Speaker Johnson over the Ukraine funding, obviously, specifically. But then she just recently suggested to Tucker Carlson something that, sort of took me aback. She had no evidence to back it up, but she said that the whole reason that he may be doing this is because Johnson may be being blackmailed. Let me just play the exchange.
Mike Johnson has made a complete departure of who he is and what he stands for. And to the point where people are literally asking, is he blackmailed? What is wrong with him? Because he's completely disconnected with what we want.
Do you think he is being blackmailed?
I have no idea.
All right, so she's saying people are literally asking, is he being blackmailed? Then says she has no idea when Tucker asked her again. Do you take this seriously?
No, I think it's irresponsible. So many of the statements that Marjorie has made over the years are completely irresponsible. The idea that somehow the speaker is corrupt because he believes that we should be supporting an ally that's been invaded by a war criminal, Vladimir Putin. And the idea that somehow anybody who is in agreement with Ukraine and our NATO allies is corrupt. It's just another distraction that she uses to take away from the core arguments that are so important.
So, when you talk about her, it is a bit different, obviously, than what the man you voted to remove as Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, said about her. In fact, this weekend, he said this about Congresswoman Green.
And the one thing I've always found about Marjorie is she's a very serious legislator that deals with policy. And the best way to deal with anyone like that is sit down and talk to them.
You've worked with her more recently. Does what he say add up to you at all? And
well, I think Kevin is much more experienced talking to Marjorie about policy than I do, first of all. Secondly, my experience with Marjorie is people have talked to her about not filing articles of impeachment on President Biden before he was sworn into office, on not filing articles of impeachment that were groundless on other individuals in the Biden administration. And she was never moved by that. She was always focused on her social media account. And Moscow Marjorie is focused now on this Ukraine issue and getting her talking points from the Kremlin and making sure that she is popular and she is getting a lot of coverage.
all right, well, Congressman, I appreciate your time and your blunt and honest words. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, sir.
Thank you.